Welcome today, and we are back with another episode of the PEAR podcast, where our goal is to share the stories of women who have pivoted, explored opportunities, adapted to circumstances, and repositioned themselves for success, no matter what life or business has put in their path. And some days it can put a lot of things in our path. Today I am here with Jodi Monk, and I'd like to welcome you to the PEAR podcast. And we're going to hear some about Jodi's experiences and her life story to where it got her today. So, welcome, Jodi.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And I think a lot of us sit where we are and we think that it's the big events that get us here. And sometimes it's not so much the big events that got us here, but all the little ones that we've had to adapt, pivot, adjust to along the way. So, would you like to share a bit about how your career got started?
So, going way back?
You can go back as far as you want to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, so just a little backstory then, because of the way that I grew up and coming from a not so great household. I had grown up with a lot of anxiety and maybe some beliefs that weren't so great, and made some, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but probably some choices in life that really put me in a pickle.
Yeah.
I had kids really young, and I had really nothing in mind for what I wanted to do with my future. And it was around my 20s when I already had two children and I was a single parent that I kind of had this moment where I thought I need to do something more with my life. Like I need to provide something better for my children. So I decided to go back to college and I got a business administration degree. But during the time that I was in college, I had met my now ex-husband. And when we decided to get married, it was best for our family because he had three children and I had two, that I stayed home.
Mhm.
And so I didn't work for many years after I graduated. Unfortunately, that relationship wasn't the best. It was abusive. And I ended up leaving with nothing. And I had to find a job, a home, a car, furniture, everything with just my two little ones and no job history. And I ended up working at a jewelry store for a good amount of time. And then eventually found a job in sales where I worked for about 7 years. And then moved into becoming a financial advisor. Um, During that moment, when I was a financial advisor, my dad got not only very sick, but in a car accident,
Okay.
and I wasn't able to do my position up to their standards. And so I moved on from that and started doing some sales in insurance. And that was going really well. I could work at my own pace, my own schedule, and still, help my kids. But um, Eventually, I moved into some online health stuff along with the insurance. And while I was doing my online health coaching, I ended up starting having some weird symptoms, getting really, really sick. And I couldn't figure it out for quite a while. It was I wasn't able to work. I was having severe anxiety. I couldn't leave the house. I was almost agoraphobic,
Mm.
getting lost, severe brain fog, migraines. I went through a huge journey trying to figure out what that was. There was a point in my life where I had gotten my breast implants removed. I thought it was my breast implants.
Mm.
Spent thousands and thousands of dollars, went to many, many doctors. Eventually found out it was Lyme's disease,
Wow.
along with some co-infections, and um, got treatment for that, and realized that there was a great opportunity for me to help others who were in my position, not getting answers from the medical doctors they were going to, and that led me to get certified in functional medicine. I had practiced functional medicine for quite a while and realized a lot of the symptoms that were people were having. I was working with a lot of women, were stress related and trauma
Mm,
related. And being that I had been through so much trauma
yeah.
and had a past full of stress and anxiety, that there may be more I needed to add to my practice. So I did go and get a life coaching certification in the 180 method, which is based in neuroscience, and a somatic certification. And I just launched a program called the Embodied You that combines all three, and it's an intensive 6-month program that helps women with anxiety and burnout and people pleasing and all the things that women struggle with when they're trying to get through life.
And I think too that the medical profession doesn't, I think when you go and sit down with any doctor in any field, I don't think we ever have conversations about the stress or what's happening in your life. It just, or if they do, the thing that they tell you is, oh, you just need to reduce your stress.
Mhm.
And you're in the middle of all of whatever you're in the middle of, and you're going, that would be nice, but can you explain to me how to do that? Because it's not something that they talk about. So it sounds like you've come to the point where you're at right now from a lot of personal experience, and then to be able to turn around and help people who are kind of either in the same boat or looking for answers like you were. What do you think was your biggest challenge during your transition into this career that you're into right now?
Um, Belief in myself, is this the right thing that I'm doing? I had kind of these little knowings, like something in the back of my mind kind of always pushing me, especially when I was trying to add more certifications into this, because it's kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you spending more money? Like, who's gonna want to do all this? You can't be a one-stop shop. But the more that I researched and the more that I knew, about the mind body connection, the more I understood how whole body healing and getting to the
Mm,
root of your issues is the only way to heal, because we can't piecemeal our healing. We are a full person. And just that belief that I was on the right track and to keep going.
yeah.
So I think that was the hardest part.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, it takes us years to get into whatever dysfunctional situation we are. And sometimes we expect that we're going to get fixed in a few days. And unfortunately, it takes a lot longer than that to get back to, I don't even think healing is the word, but to whatever your new normal is.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of getting to the root of whatever the issue is and understanding that there's layers to it
Yeah.
and working through those layers in not only your physical health, but your emotional health.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I think sometimes the emotional can kind of be the lead in all that too, because if you're not emotionally ready for it, then it doesn't matter what else you're doing. It doesn't always take hold. Can you share a little bit about? I noticed you were saying that you have a 6-month program, so it's not like we're coming in and having one conversation and we're in and done. Um, can you give us a little overview about what your 6-month program looks like?
Sure, yeah. So I do a life coaching program called the 180 Method, and that combines neuroscience with it is a faith-based program. People just have to be open to understanding the reason why they're here and what their purpose is. It doesn't mean that you have to be religious. It just means that you yeah, you're open to that and you have some hope in yourself and in your future. And then it includes some somatic work, because some of the work we're doing on the neuroscience side and your belief work can be very triggering. And I want to make sure people aren't walking through the program um, feeling worse. So I give them some tools to help balance, like regulate their nervous system. And then I don't go deep into the functional medicine piece. I do lifestyle changes that can support some of the stuff we're doing. If somebody needs more work in that area, then I work with them separately. But the individualistic protocols and the testing that I can do with functional medicine isn't necessarily included in this program, because that's a lot.
Hmm.
But I find with the belief work and then adding in just a few lifestyle changes to support your body does wonders. It's just
Okay.
amazing.
Can you explain a little bit more for any of our listeners who don't understand what somatic work is?
Sure. So somatic work, I'm certified in nervous system regulation and also somatic work for stress and trauma. So what I usually do is give people small movements that they can do daily to help bring their nervous system from a sympathetic, which is your fight, flight, or freeze response, into a parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest, and
Mm-hmm.
just get them back in touch with feeling what their body needs in the moment. I think a lot of the women that I work with, they disassociate or they don't give their body what it needs for so long that it takes a while for you
Mm-hmm.
to kind of catch up and understand how to get back to that. It's it's very it doesn't take a long time, but it can be you have to keep doing it on a regular basis in order to kind of get that, what's the word I'm looking for?
The results maybe
Yeah,
that you're looking
to
for.
get the results because
Yeah.
you're retraining yourself.
Right, right. No. And I think too, a lot of women have a tendency to take care of all of those around them
Oh, for sure.
first before they take care of themselves.
Hmm.
And I think I've talked about this before. It's kind of like when you get on an airplane and they tell you, put your mask on first before you help the person next to you. But we don't carry that through into our life. And then we wonder why we're burned out. And I think you mentioned that when you were answering one of the questions, and that when you were still sick, with your Lyme disease, you were still trying to help those around you, and that didn't work out so well either.
No, and I think that was the breaking point for me when I was feeling the needs for everyone in my family, and especially with Lyme, because you don't look sick. And you keep
Hmm.
telling people all the time, I'm tired, I don't feel good, and they're like, they're sick of hearing it. Um, and so I just always pushed through and kept doing all the things that a mom and a good housekeeper does. And I got to the point where I was just like, you know what? This is not working. I will never get better. I will never feel better unless I start taking charge of my needs and putting myself first in these situations. And I started saying no, and I started saying I need to do this and I need to do that, and this is what I need. And it's a big adjustment for the family, but I wouldn't be here today if I wouldn't have done
And I
that.
think, the two words that come to mind when you were saying that was being intentional with your time and what you're doing, and also, putting good boundaries around what you can and cannot do, or what you should or shouldn't do, for yourself, because if you are not able to function at a certain level, then you're not able to either give back to, whether it's your business, your family, your community, or whatever you're doing. So it's extremely important to take care of yourself. So I think too, one of the things, that I read in your, feedback that you gave me, and I asked you about, what surprised you during your shift, and you said that you aren't too old to start over.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to kind of think that I was at my age, 'cause I'll be 52 this year. I had to think about that. Um, is when you're young, you always think I'm not old enough to be doing what I'm doing. And then in the middle of it, you're not even thinking about that at all. But then you get to a certain age and it's like, well, what is too old? I mean, I know so many people that are older than me doing more than me, and it just made me feel like, okay, yeah, there's no reason why I can't be doing what I'm doing, and I have the life experience and the education to help people, and I have a passion for it. So there's no reason I can't do it.
And I think that's important too, because you're doing something that you love. You didn't get to this place with necessarily enjoyment, because the things that you had to go through to get here, but the experience that you have now, along with the education, like you said, I mean, it sounds like you went through, some pretty intensive training to get here, has definitely given you a perspective that maybe somebody else doesn't have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So is there anything, do you have anything coming up that you would like to share with our listeners about programs that you have? These 6 month programs, do they have like a start and end date, or are they a rolling enrollment? And how do those work?
Yeah, so I try to take a minimum amount of clients because I like to give people a really good intensive experience. It's a rolling enrollment. I take I think the max I take is I would say 8 to 12. I have taken more than that and it gets to be much, so I'm kind of trying to cap it. I don't want to put a number on things. But I feel like we meet, what you need to know is we meet weekly. And I say 6 months, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. There's not an extra charge for that, of course, but the life program that I bring people through sometimes takes a little bit longer than the 6 months because there's some integration that needs to happen. And because I've added on the other things, um, it can just take a little bit longer and there's no charge for that. But yeah, if it's something that you're interested in, I do have a free discovery call that I offer everybody that you can just click in my Instagram bio and we can talk about what your goals are, where you're at, where you want to be, and can see what we can do.
Well, it sounds like you've had a lot of things that you've had to adapt to. So when we talk about the different things that women are experiencing, you've had quite a few of those. And I think too that the important thing is that we're not alone in this, and there are people out there. So I think the program that you have is available, and there again, it's not for everybody. But if somebody's interested in finding out more about what Jodi does, we will have information in the show notes that you can click on and get to her and find out more about what she is doing and the work. And maybe it's not you personally for whoever's listening, but maybe there's somebody that you know that could benefit from connecting in with Jodi. So, do you have any closing thoughts before we finish up here? Anything that you would like to add that maybe I haven't asked?
I would just like to say that life just keeps lifing. I know we talked about that a little bit before we started recording, and I think one thing that people have to remember when they're going through these pivots and they're going through these changes is you just have to keep hope that there is something on the other side of this that is even better than you could ever imagine. And these things that you're going through are just lessons. And lessons mean that it's a skill set that you can build. So
Mm.
don't give up, just keep going and make sure that you ask for support and help and get help if you need it.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here and look forward to talking with you again soon. So thank you very much, Jodi.
Thank you.